Only person you ever loved is you. You don't know how to love nobody else.
Why would I kill Crystal, Kanan? Why would I do that?
Because you don't want me to have nobody but you. Want me all to your fucking self. That's why you killed them all. D, Fame, Crystal, even my own fucking father. That's why I gotta do this right now. So you can't take nobody else away from me.
Raising Kanan season 5 is going to be the deadliest season yet. And just based off how things ended in season 4, I can tell you guys there's a lot we can expect in season 5. And that's obviously what this video is about. We're going to bring up and recap a lot of things that occurred in season 4 and how they will possibly resurface come season 5, which is the final season.
I'm always protecting you. But not no more.
When it comes to Kanan, right, we can clearly see that he's being influenced and manipulated by Snaps and Pop. And when you kind of see the manipulation that he's been going through these first couple seasons with first Rock and now Snaps and Pop, it makes so much sense why he was how he was in the OG Power and the way that he was easily able to infiltrate and manipulate Tariq and the St. Patrick family. And then on the other hand, you have Rock, right, who's taking the blame for everything this season. She has been the one to blame for a lot of things that have happened in the past and has caused a lot of damage to Kanan and everyone else in the family. But in this scenario, she's actually innocent. She actually had nothing to do with this. And this kind of reminds me of a very, very similar situation.
I tried to give you one last chance like you said you did with Breeze, but you're in the way. You're in the way of my future like you said he was in the way of yours.
You're in the way of my future like you said I was in the way of yours. It's the same thing, guys. It's the same parallels in Power. This is why I tell you guys, they repeat a lot of the same storylines. And if you really just pay attention to what you're seeing, you can really predict the future. This is the same thing that happened with Tariq and Ghost, right? Where Tariq felt like Ghost was in the way of his future, and people like Kanan and Tasha kind of manipulated Tariq into thinking that he needed to take out Ghost in order to move forward in life. And it's the same thing with Rock and Kanan, because now Snaps and Pop have essentially manipulated Kanan into thinking that Rock was behind Crystal's death, Rock was behind Famous's death, and Rock is behind pretty much everything bad that's going on with his business. And this is very interesting of a parallel because Kanan is young and dumb, just like Tariq was, right? He's easily influenced, he's easily manipulated, and this is going to cause him to create some stupid decisions. Now, ultimately, what happens, right? By the time they realize the truth, it's too late. By the time Tariq realized that Ghost was actually a good dad and wanted the best for him and wanted him out of the life for specific reasons, it was too late. And he was never really able to reflect on that in the show. So I think in this instance with Kanan, I don't think he will be the one to shoot or take out Rock at this moment in time. But there's still a chance that it could happen. But man, it's just crazy how they bring these stories full circle, and it makes so much sense why Tariq and Kanan had such a close bond.
Only these old heads call me Branfield. Around the way on the block, niggas call me Breeze.
Breeze. What?
Now, on the topic of Breeze, this is going to be a very important character moving forward. And if you guys didn't know, they had dropped an article pretty much announcing that season 5 was going to be the final season. But they made a very clear note there where they said starring Shameik Moore in season 5. Now, Shameik Moore has been casted as the role of Breeze, and he's also been casted as a series regular, which means he's one of the main characters on the show now, and he's going to be a huge focal point in season 5 and moving on to possibly Power origins. And the relationship between him and Kanan is going to be the relationship that's finally going to help him kind of break through from his family, the Thomas family, from everybody that's been manipulating him. And I think it's going to allow him to get some mentorship and actually have a clear view of what he needs to do. Also, remember the fact that Snaps and Pop are the ones who introduced Breeze to Kanan and Kanan to Breeze, because they are Breeze's aunt and uncle supposedly. And this is only going to complicate the relationship further and really put Kanan and Breeze's relationship to the test once Kanan finds out that Snaps and Pop has been the ones pretty much killing his people and destroying his operation. And I think ultimately that will cause some sort of conflict with Breeze. But seeing the character that Breeze is, and he's supposedly all business and he's about getting his money, once he kind of sees what Kanan is talking about and how Snaps and Pop might be also manipulating him as well, and them both to, get ahead in the business, they're probably going to take them out. And I look forward to it. Now, when it comes to Stefano, I'm not really sure why they chose to keep this character alive. I mean, you already have a big enough cast now that you just added Breeze, and you didn't really kill off any real main characters this season. You just have a huge cast and a huge budget going into season 5, but I guess it doesn't really matter. Me personally, I figured that this storyline with Stefano was over, but now that he's alive, that complicates things even further because, will he want to join back up with Rock now that, he's been finessed by Phil Russo, right? He thought that they were kind of in things together, but the whole time Phil Russo was trying to get him out the way. Now, last time we saw Unique, it seemed like he was ready to go to war, right? He told his crew to burn up the Chinese spots. He pretty much put Rock's business on pause, right? We know she has a lot of product, but she doesn't have the distribution of the people to move it, and she doesn't have anywhere to move it to now that the Chinese restaurants have essentially been burned down. So Unique looks like he took the win at the end of season 4, and going into season 5, it's looking like things are going to get even more smoky. But I don't really see much more for his character, and the way that Snaps and Pop kind of mentioned him and them working with Kanan and Breeze temporarily, it made it seem like they're going to kind of get Unique out the way in order to kind of move forward. They just want to kind of get his Italian connects and, all his shit and just get him out the way and put him down for real. Now, Lou was on Demon Time, right? Last time we seen him, he was watching Panessa and pretty much just keeping eyes on her the whole episode. And once Rock made the call to go get her, he went and got her, and he snatched up Panessa and Jerome. And a lot of people are wondering what's going to happen. I don't see Lou killing either of them. I don't think he's the type to just kill innocent people like that, especially in this type of situation where Panessa probably is going to be against Unique anyway, and will probably just side with Rock and Lou anyway because, he sees the way that he's been acting. Now, Jukebox is definitely going to be one that we're going to need to watch closely in season 5 because I think her relationship with Kanan is very much going to change, and she's going to be going through even more growing pains, which I think could be the loss of Marvin. I know I kind of spoke on it a little bit in previous videos, but there was that scene, she had with Aisha where she talked about wanting to stay with Marvin and she didn't want to leave New York so she could look out for him. And I felt as if that kind of foreshadowed Marvin's potential death. So I think Jukebox is going to be going through a lot in season 5, and she's not going to have Kanan to really lean on anymore because they're kind of going to be on the outskirts once she realizes he's working with Snaps and Pop and he's siding with them against his own family. It's going to create a lot of conflicts that I don't think can be easily resolved. And a lot of fans seem to believe that, based on this rift between Jukebox and Kanan right now, that eventually we're going to get that scene that Kanan spoke of in the OG Power, where Juke pretty much gave him that scar. And that's kind of what I feel like is going to put a dent in the relationship to the point where Kanan feels comfortable enough, to kill her in the OG Power. So that is a scene that we're definitely waiting on. And last but not least, obviously we have the great, the beloved Marvin Thomas. And this is a character that I'm terrified for in season 5, y'all. Marvin has made a lot of mistakes. He's caught a lot of bodies this past season. He's just made a lot of enemies with a lot of different people and just been very repetitive in a lot of the mistakes that he's made. And despite a lot of the growth that he's had in the past few seasons, he still seems to refer back to, his true nature. And I think eventually that's going to catch up to him. Right, that's going to catch up to him in a show like this that's Power, and especially with the relationship between him and Jukebox and the parallels that I see in that relationship. I think that his death could definitely just catapult Jukebox's development, and definitely necessary if Jukebox is going to move on to Power Origins, which I'm sure she will. I think that Marvin got to go. He got to go, right? He's made the most mistakes. He's caught the most bodies. He has the most blood on his hands outside of maybe like Rock. And, you know, I don't see his character going to jail. I don't see him going out to the feds. Like, I see him going out guns blazing in a war, in a battle, saving the Thomas family. And I think it's going to be the most painful part of the season. And I can't wait to see it, man. Overall, as you guys know, I felt like season 4 was definitely a filler type season, considering the early renewal they had for season 5. They definitely wanted to set the groundwork for the season and series finale in the last season in season 5. So I definitely think that was a build-up season. And I think in season 5, a lot of bodies will drop. I mean, we're going into season 5 and all the main characters are still alive. Rock, Lou, Marvin, Unique, Jukebox, like somebody got to go. And we know Kanan and Jukebox are safe. So there's going to be some other bodies that are definitely going to go. I'll catch you guys on the next one.